right. How's it going, everyone? Can everyone hear me or anything? Or let me know in the comments if you can hear me, if you can hear... we are playing on Arc here, so you might not hear anything in the background or anything like that, but voice okay, everything like that. Before we get started. Guys, let me know in the comments if you can hear me before we get started, just to make sure we can hear me perfectly. Awesome. Obviously, we are on Arc, so there's not really any background noise like we traditionally get with Subnautica. But, okay, so it sounds like you guys can hear me. Awesome. Let's get started. So, let's start out by saying what's going on, guys. So we got a few people here. We have Metalhead, Zafira, both of the admins. We also have Michael. Welcome, Michael. Welcome, James. Welcome, Raphael. And welcome, Aiden. And anybody else that I missed, welcome to you guys, too. So, let's start out with kind of what's been going on. So, obviously, it's been a couple days since I actually did a recording or anything like that. The last recording was, of course, the infamous Rockwell fight yet again. I don't know what it is about Rockwell, I'm gonna be honest. We've always run into some form of an issue with Rockwell, and the original time, well, the first time that we fought him, I went in stupidly. We just we went straight into alpha with our what did we have? I think it was Megalosauruses, honestly, the first time, and we just got completely, we ended up just getting completely ruined, let's put it that way. This time in this series, I thought we prepared pretty well. We ended up going into Gamma, and, yeah, Rockwell spawned twice. So, there's that, too. So, yeah, Rockwell's kind of interesting. But, it's been a bit of a relaxing week, because, honestly... Obviously, we're all hyped for Genesis Part 2, but that did unfortunately get delayed. So there hasn't really been any kind of content or anything like that. And honestly, it's really just because, again, Genesis Part 2 is coming out. We're really just pretty much getting ready for that. But I did want to show you guys stuff that I've been doing, like, behind the scenes and stuff like that, honestly. Because... yeah, I mean, I've been busting my ass basically doing this. We talked about this in the first stream. There were a few things that I actually talked about kind of bringing to the channel and everything like that. The first big thing was the Discord, which we actually do have, which is definitely great to actually have that all set up and everything like that. We also talked about new games coming to the channel, obviously. Conan is possibly going to be making a hit to the channel because... we have the new update with Isle of Sipta and everything like that, so I am excited to get back into that. On top of that too, we also have, obviously, we've done some Subnautica streams and stuff like that. That is something that I'm definitely looking to bring to the channel. Definitely going to be starting probably in the next few weeks, honestly, too. I really want to just get a lot of Gen 2 figured out and kind of see what's going on with that before we really jump into anything else. So we have that going on, but behind the scenes, I have been working on something that I'm really, really excited about. Obviously, it's not done yet, but I did want to show it off to you guys, because I'm really excited. It's been probably, I don't know, Zafira or Metalhead will definitely agree with me on this. It's been about 4 or 5 days, at least on my end, of grinding and getting this all figured out, but obviously, we are here on Ragnarok, and this isn't just normal Ragnarok. This is a server. I've actually bought myself a server, and I'm trying to get it all set up because eventually I would like to have some of you guys join me on this server, basically. We have 3 from Zayden. Hey, Zayden, just make sure you don't, spam or anything like that. Alright, but let's start flying around kind of just to show you guys kind of what I've been doing on here. So, what's interesting about this map is I've actually brought over a decent amount of different dinos from the traditional Ragnarok map, pretty much. So we'll start over in the jungle, because that's usually where people begin and everything like that. Trying to figure this out and everything has been an absolute pain. honestly, it's been a nightmare trying to do this, but it's been a lot of fun trying to set this all up, configure all of the new dinos that I brought in here and everything like that, and I'm really, really interested to show them off to you guys. So, as you can see right here, we have a couple of tropical crystal wyverns. We have brought them over from Crystal Isles. Traditionally, they're going to spawn in the jungle region over here by Blue Obelisk, and then on top of that, too, we have them kind of spawning all along the beach, too. Right now, it's a little subdued. I might bump it up a little bit, but we'll kind of see how it honestly goes. But going from there too, you know what, let me pull up the app that I have been using to actually configure all this. So, if you guys don't know, it's a thing called Beacon. It's basically an app where I set up the server that I basically want, and then it basically figures out the actual config and everything like that. So, running through each biome here. Let me pull up the list of the spawns. We're at roughly beaches right now. So I have brought over a couple of aberrant creatures too. So obviously anything that traditionally spawns in whatever area you're in, whether you're in the jungle, whether you're on the beach, whatever, the aberrant version or the X version will also, sorry, not the X version, the aberrant version will spawn there too. So for example, on the beach, you do get a lot of carbos, which are the turtles. There is a chance of the aberrant ones also joining that group too. Kind of going through the list just to give you guys an idea for the beaches. We have a spawn of the aberrant carbos, aberrant dimorphodons, aberrant dodos, aberrant lystros, aberrant moshops, aberrant paras, aberrant trikes, aberrant trilobites, the tropia, which is another crystal owls, and then finally the tropical crystal wyvern. Now, to give you guys an idea of the entire beach, we're pretty much starting at like Blue Obelisk, and the spawn pretty much goes all the way through here. So basically, not only will you have the normal spawns that you get on Ragnarok, but you're also going to get some of these thrown in there too, which just gives it a nice little feel. Like, as you guys could see, we do have one little tropio right there. We've had a couple of the tropical crystal wyverns come in here, which is nice too. Again, I'm still kind of trying to figure out like exactly how many and trying to figure out the exact weights of everything. So it's been a tedious process. That's probably putting it lightly too. On top of that, let's see here. Where else are we kind of... Jungles-wise, obviously, everything that spawns in the jungle, which is just a stupid amount of creatures, honestly, ranging from the Carno to the Iguanodon to the Anki, all of their aberrant versions will also be in the jungle, too. I've tried to make it as even as possible, so if there are a total of 10 spawns in the entire place, if there's 10 spawns of, let's just say, the Tapejara, right, in there, it will basically be... At least I tried to make it where it's 5 of the X tappies and 5 regular tappies. If it's the Carbo and it's 10, 5 regular Carbos, 5 aberrant Carbos. So it kind of gives you a nice little a diversity, which is really, really nice. I will say there's a couple of creatures, unfortunately, I did try to get into the server, but it just wasn't necessarily working out. And that unfortunately included the Mega Shellion. The Mega Shellion works perfectly on the server. The problem is the parakeet fish, or the microbe swarms, they're also called. They kept spawning out of the water for me, even when I was doing their spawn location as the deep ocean. So... unfortunately, those guys didn't make the cut. The other one that did not make the cut was the Magmasaur, and the reason is, unfortunately, you cannot breed Magmasaurs here on Ragnarok, so I felt like there was absolutely no point to actually bring them on over. But again, just kind of going through the jungle/beach area here, you guys can see there's a decent amount of wyverns kind of spawning in. It's not too over crazy of the spawns, but I think it's a nice sprinkling of them, if you will. Moving on, this has definitely been the most difficult area for me to actually get them all figured out, and that's the swamp area. The reason is there's so many different varieties of creatures. So just to give you an idea, in this area, not only is it the regular spawns, but swamp. We have 2 different spawn areas. It's swamp and swamp water. So basically, every single creature that spawns in the swamp area that has an aberrant or an X variant is also in there, basically. So going through the list, Aberrant Baryonyx, Aberrant Bullfrog, Aberrant Diplocaulus, Aberrant Sarco, Aberrant Spino, Aberrant Titanoboa, and the X Spino. Also, too, in this area, you will actually see some of the X Parasers made their way in here. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how they actually were able to get into this portion. You'll see some of them kind of floating out here. They're actually pretty rare, but as I'm moving around this area, you guys can see that it is a really hectic area here. This is Ragnarok, and it's still gonna be a little bit, I'm gonna be honest. This is probably the first phase that I would like. This is the first phase of everything getting done. There's probably going to be about 3 total phases, which I'll kind of go through what I'm planning on this in the future, like more things being added to this and everything. But I felt like the progress that's been made so far, I kind of wanted to show it off just to tease it to you guys a little bit. But as you guys can see, there are a lot of Spinos, but they are diverse. So you do have a lot of the aberrant variants, a lot of the X variants here, and the regular ones too. So depending on kind of like what Spino or what creature is your favorite, they're pretty much going to be on this map, which is really, really nice. But the map is actually Ragnarok, so I've actually been able to spawn a couple of these different creatures and everything in. Yeah, so the Magmasaur and a couple of the other creatures that require eggs, including the Deinonychus, the Magmasaur, the Rock Drake, stuff like that. Unfortunately, I was not able to get onto here. So, yeah, that it is what it is. Unfortunately, on console, even though this is a server and everything, there's still some limitations and whatnot. Ocean-wise, since we obviously see one right here, all the X variants have also been added, except for the X Megalodon. And the reason is, for some reason, whenever I put in the code for the X Megalodon, it just continuously spawns regular Megalodons. So I have not figured out a way to actually spawn in the X-Meg, so unfortunately, that's the only one that's not included in the ocean waters, obviously, along with the Megachelion. But everything else is pretty much spawning in, so that's X-Mosas, that's Aberrant Mantas, that's X-Dunkies, that's pretty much the rest of the line, if I'm going to be honest. Moving on, this is pretty much just the Herbivore Island area, if you will. So this side, obviously, we do have some X-Parasers working their way from over to the swamp area to here. This area here is known as the Herbivore Island for Ragnarok. On here, obviously, any creature that naturally spawns here, you will also find the aberrant or, no, just aberrant variations, which is actually kind of nice. So Parasaurs, let's see, Parasaurs, the aberrant ones can spawn here. The, let's see, what else do we have? The Stegos, the Carbos, the Trikes that spawn here can have an aberrant version spawn with them too. Moving on, let's see. Down here, pretty much the same thing. This kind of links with Herbivore Island, so, which is actually pretty nice. Over here, I haven't figured out the spawn code and everything for this area yet. Again, I am using a third-party app called Beacon, so their spawn names are different than what the actual spawns are. So, for example, the Highlands in the game, if you look at your INI files, the game calls it Scotland. In the Beacon app, it's called Lighthouse, which that's easy because there's a lighthouse there. Some of these regions are a little harder to determine like what they are and everything. So this region, unfortunately, I haven't figured out what Beacon's version of it is actually called, basically. So obviously, you have Parasaurs here. The plan would be that X-Parasaurs would be here. You do have Iguanodons that spawn over here. I'm not sure if that's because of the general location spawns that I put in. But if they do naturally spawn here, then I would have the Aberrant and all the other spawns of that variant here. Let's see what else. But mainly, this is the Scorched Earth area, so you're not really going to find too much. It would probably be the Parasaur would be the only variant in this area. And that includes this area over here, because this is all the Scorched Earth variant of Ragnarok here. The little island, we're not going to worry about that yet. We're going to go back there in a little bit, so we're going to kind of skip that for now because there's a lot of different things kind of going on there that I want to show off in a little bit. This area here has been a little bit interesting and a little bit of a mess, I'm going to be honest. I don't know how I actually ended up getting it, but when I was trying to tweak all different settings and stuff, I ended up getting gotchas on this, and I absolutely loved it. Unfortunately, I don't remember what code I put in to actually have that, but for now I have them spawning over here for some reason. I don't really know what's going on, but we do have gotchas. Gotchas are spawning onto this map, but the plan is to basically have some of them, maybe one or two. I don't want to go too nuts with them, honestly. But I want them to spawn over here. So again, a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of figuring out, but let's see what else we have here. Let's see. Yeah, so there's actually two different spots that gotchas will spawn in. The second one I'm not going to go over yet because it ties into something a little bit later. Pretty much any region that you'll find every single dino. So like for example here, those are obviously scorpions. They have a chance of also spawning as aberrants. So that's for the entire map here, which is very, very tedious, honestly, to get done. The X variants I will discuss now. So there are X allos on here. There's X, I guess, now you know what, we'll wait for each region because they are specifically in certain regions for certain reasons. So we'll kind of go over them when we actually get to them. So let's skip X's for now. But this is the desert region. Honestly, there hasn't really been too much work in this section yet. I still have to kind of go through and see what normally spawns here. Again, this is a lot of scorched earth stuff, so there's not really a lot of aberrant variants that would be here anyway, so these would be pretty vanilla, if I'm going to be honest. This is Ragnarok. I actually ended up getting a server, and I've been kind of customizing the server eventually to have you guys basically play on it along with me. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but kind of going through to the desert. The desert's been a big rehaul here. So as you guys can see, there's a lot of wyverns coming in. So we actually have two different kinds of wyverns here. So we have the blood crystal wyvern spawning here, and we also have the ember crystal wyvern here. So it's not just this area. They spawn all over this place. There's about, I would say, if I were to guess, maybe 15 to 20 total wyverns, most likely, in the desert right now. We have a lot of Allonosaurs that are going to spawn in here. We also have Ravagers that are going to spawn in here, too. So it does make the desert a little more dangerous. Parasaurs will actually spawn not only as themselves, but the X variant, too. I believe I also added aberrant versions of them too. I would have to double check the INIs. But we do have Gigas. I've actually put more Gigas into the desert area than traditionally. It's been a little touchy with the Gigas, but I will tell you the last time I kind of went through this before I did another wipe to edit a few things that I realized I messed up. There were about 5 or 6 Gigas all along just the desert area. So the desert's going to be a very, very dangerous area. And the reason is, well, there's the best loot drops here. It's the red desert loot crate. So you got to make the hardest thing to get in the game. You got to make it the most dangerous. So I've also upped in the desert more Arthropleura spawns, also more Titanoboa spawns, and Scorpion spawns too. But what's really nice is they're actually coming out like really, really nice colors, and I don't know what this is. It's just a normal, oh god, it's just a normal event right now. There's nothing going on. So it's kind of crazy that some of these colors are absolutely amazing coming out on the wyverns, which I'm really, really, really liking. But I haven't come across too many Gigas, at least right now. I've only seen one, but like I said, the last time I kind of flew around here just to check spawns and everything, I was looking at about 5 or 6. Which is gonna be interesting. The good thing is I actually have it set up where they won't spawn together. They spawn in all different areas, or at least I hope I got it figured out correctly. But yeah, I wanted to make the desert a dangerous place because, again, everyone's gonna want to come here to get themselves the red loot crates. So you gotta kind of always be on alert, basically. But again, I will say, yep, there's another Giga. I will say that I feel like the spawns are a little it's not enough, so I do have to tweak that naturally a little bit to just get a little more oomph out here. You see that there's a lot of creatures, but they're kind of bumped up all together, like 3 there, and then there's a little bit over there. This is an Xbox server, yes, so I actually have it set up for Xbox and crossplay. So what that means is if you are on Xbox, and we'll go over the details later, because this isn't coming yet, so I don't want people to think that, oh my god, you can get on here right now. No, there's a lot of work that still goes into this, but there has been a lot of progress so far, and I wanted to show it to you guys just to show you kind of what's been going on behind the scenes and the reason why there's no there hasn't been any ARC episodes pretty much this week. I know we've been doing a little bit more streaming wise for the last few weeks and whatnot, but this is pretty much where my time's been taken. So today, for example, I've been working on the server since 8:30 this morning. It's 6:50 p.m. right now. So yeah, so, and that's been for the past maybe 4 or 5 days, so it's been about 50 plus hours at this point. What if I play on PC but an Xbox account? I believe it works, Zafira or Metal, if you can answer that, but as long as you're on, it's Windows 10 and we still have to work on it before it goes up. It's Windows 10 and Xbox basically in the cross-play. It's not Steam, unfortunately. It doesn't work that way with Nintrado. And unfortunately for Xbox, Nintrado is really the only choice. I don't really have any other choice. So it is what it is. It's been a very interesting process because I'm not good at all when it comes to coding and stuff. So it's been a big learning curve. I will be honest. But so desert region, besides that, yeah, that's pretty much going to be your spawns. Everything that spawns on the desert, if it has an aberrant version, it will spawn here too. For now, it will be a single map, depending on the popularity, how much you guys like it. If it goes well, then there is a chance of expanding into a cluster. But to be honest, maps are expensive. I'm gonna be honest. It's just for the one map to give you guys an idea too of, and again, it doesn't matter if it's an Intrado, it doesn't matter if it's like any of them. It's $14 a month just to have a server for 10 man. This is the lowest you can do. So it does get a little bit pricey. So that's why, again, like, we're going to be doing it very slowly. Because, again, it only has been 3 max on the server right now, which has been myself, Zafira, and Metal, just kind of checking it out and everything like that, and just making sure spawns are good, just making sure that all the INI files are kind of set up correctly and whatnot. And I don't know how it's going to do with 10 people. I don't know how it's going to do with if we ever upgrade to the next level and stuff like that. So this will be rolled out very slowly, I will say. I would rather play it safe and roll it out real slow and kind of catch bugs, issues quickly versus having this be a 32-man server and it just keeps going, like, it keeps breaking, let's put it that way. But, okay, so desert-wise, that's pretty much it, I'm gonna be honest. When it comes to the grassier areas, this in the Beacon app, the third-party app that I'm using to set all this stuff up, these areas are pretty much called grasslands. They don't have a no, it's okay, Michael. Technically it's PvP, but we're making it PvE. It's just, for what we're trying to do, it's technically PvP, but we're gonna set it up more specifically to a PvE server, let's put it that way. But when you look this server up, it technically will show up as PvP. When it comes to the grasslands area specifically, grasslands is grasslands. So this grasslands is the same as the Green Obelisk grasslands and stuff like that. So spawns have been a little interesting trying to set these up. Pretty much anything that spawns here, if an aberrant creature spawns there, basically it's going to spawn here essentially, and that ranges from Stegos, Trikes, Dire Bears. We have Otters that are spawning on this map in all different varieties. We'll go over those in a little bit. That's more in the lake section. Let's see. But now in the snow section, snow has been very interesting because I would say this is the section that has the most diversity. So we're going to run through the list right now before we go in there because there are a few different spawn areas in the snow. So you have, to give you an idea, you have an area called Snow, which is just a general area. snow forest and snow plains. Okay, so the creatures that we have spawning in here are, we're going to skip that one for now. We'll go that at the end. So obviously Argent spawn in here. So we have the X Argent, which has been about 50-50, I would say. We also have the X Sabertooth coming in here, which looks absolutely beautiful, honestly. I really, really like how the saber looks, especially in this environment too. The X Woolly Rhino and the X Uteranus also make an appearance in the snow biomes. The reason why these X creatures are in the snow biome is because on Genesis they are in the snow biome there. And if you guys have noticed, the creatures that are X creatures in those regions have specific color codes. So in the snowy regions, all the Argents are typically white, blues, light oranges, like almost like a peach colored, stuff like that. So we have that going on here. That includes the Uteranus, that includes the Woolly Rhino. Everything that looks like it belongs in the snow is in the snow. Now, there's a couple of other ones that we haven't gone over. I think I might have said this, I'm not exactly sure yet, but we've also added the Snow Owl. So the Snow Owl is actually very, very common in this region, which is really, really cool. Personally, I love the Snow Owl. It's one of my favorite creatures in this game, and I'm really, really excited that I have gotten it able to come up on this map. And then finally, on top of that, oh no, we have one more to go through, sorry. The Managarmr is another one that makes an appearance on this map too, which is really, really, really cool, honestly. It's been a little buggy trying to figure it out because it's either like I'll have 1 or 2 spawn or I'll have 62 spawn. Like, it's very, very touchy with the Managarmr for some reason. I don't really know why. But again, that's just me with experience with INI, where this is a learning process. Finally is probably the most exciting creature that we have spawning in the snow biomes in specific sections, not in the whole thing, but the Ferox. Yeah, the Ferox is actually spawning in here, which is pretty damn cool, I'm gonna be honest. It's really interesting because the snow biome, we can kind of start traveling in it since I've went over all the creatures, and you'll start seeing them kind of popping up and everything like that. You will see dire bears and stuff because technically it's that close to the grasslands that the dire bear is spawning into that area. It is a bit interesting, I will say, that the Ferox in this area is just, it's absolutely crazy, some of the spawns and everything like that. We have, like, as you can see, we have a couple of snow owls and Argents fighting each other, a couple of mammoths fighting a saber-tooth. Again, it is a little dulled down, I'm going to be honest, and the reason is for right now, I just wanted to make sure that the spawns were working, and then from there, I can always basically up the spawnage, if that makes sense. But as you can see, the normal spawns are here, normal wolves, everything like that, but then we also added like a Managarmr, and then we have a Managarmr here fighting some mammoths. And then over here, we have some Uteranuses. That's an X-Uteranus. Another X-Uteranus. Obviously, the birds are fighting over here, and that's just one little part of the biome. What's nice is, obviously, we have the Sabertooth, or Saberteeth coming in for us, and they are X variants, which again, in the Genesis biome, they traditionally spawn in the snow, so I kind of thought it was fitting to kind of throw them in here. Another rare spawn is the X Woolly Rhino. You won't really find a lot of these, but it's nice that it is spawning in. I would say the 2 biggest threats in this, well, the 3 biggest threats in this biome is going to be, 1, the Managarmr, because that thing will just chase you down as far as possible. You'll see that it's actually still chasing me. But on top of that, you also have the a ton of wolves, and you also have a ton of X Sabertooth that are spawning in here, which is nice. So it's going to be a really, really dangerous biome. Not only is the snow going to be an issue, especially murder snow sections where it drops to under 60 below, basically. You also have the all these threats and everything around you. So the idea is that this map is going to be very, very tough, or at least that's the idea, and that's what I'm wanting the map to be. That's kind of what I'm trying to accomplish here, for lack of better terms. I will say that the Ferox is very hard to find, and the reason is I've made the Feroxes only really spawn in the forest, and the reason is, if you really think about it, the Ferox is so small that if this was its true environment and everything, it would want to hide from all these bad things. So it makes sense that it would be hiding more in like the forest and everything like that. Now, when you do get out here, you will see a Ferox or two. Like there's one right there, kind of just prancing along, getting hit by a snow owl. But they do actually spawn into the map, which is actually kind of cool. But again, obviously, we have snow owls and stuff chasing us, which would have ended up killing the Ferox. So the Feroxes will not last for long. Obviously, the normal ice wyvern that typically spawns on the map is staying. So that spawns randomly at 5 or 6 different locations, I believe, and you can get the egg. It's just a matter of where the actual nest is. So really, really excited. It's been interesting to trying to get all this stuff figured out, lined up, trying to get the levels correct, because each creature has just been it's been very interesting. It's been a great learning experience, but at the same time, it's been like, whew. This biome's been the toughest. I will say this biome in total has been the toughest, and it's because of this guy right here. The freaking Manic Armor has been impossible to get that right, but I think we're going in the right direction, if you will. Moving on, we're going to head into the canyons area. So, funny story with this section. This is obviously the canyons area. Like I said, I've been using a third-party app called Beacon to kind of figure out spawns. This area is obviously called Canyon. Central Canyon and Central Canyon River are the spawns here, or at least this app sets it up that way, right? So I didn't realize that this was this area. I actually thought it was closer to the desert. So I added Volanosaurs and I added gas bags in here. And I added them in the river, thinking like, it's a small river. It'll be on the sides of the river. No, there were gas bags like legit in the water. Like they were just kind of like floating in the water, which was absolutely hilarious. But that's all been fixed. This biome, because of how small it is and because of how concentrated this area is, this will be probably the most dangerous biome, period. And the reason is it's probably one of the most beautiful, so make one of the most beautiful the most dangerous on top of that. Spinos wise, you have the common spawn of not only the Spinos, but you also have X Spinos and you have aberrant Spinos here. So they take up about 40% of all the spawns in this area. On top of that, you also have Dimorphs, you also have, and the aberrant version of Dimorphs, obviously. Gas bags do spawn here, so if you want a gas bag, this is going to be one of the only places to get them in a really, really hard area to get. We also have Ravagers spawning in here. We also have obviously Raptors, obviously the normal spawns, but I think the hardest thing is going to be the fact that the Spinos are not only common in the water, but outside the water too. So you're going to see a lot of Spinos in this area. On top of that, we have double spawns of Baryonyxes because we have the aberrant variant too. So so to give you guys an idea, when I'm saying like there's a X Spino, Spino, and aberrant Spino, that's not one spawn group. It's 3 separate spawn groups. So there's a chance that it's supposed to be one spawn, let's just say right on this rock here. You can get a spawn of spawn of a Spino, X Spino, and a aberrant Spino just in one spot. So it's kind of 3 times the amount potentially. So this area can get a little crazy. So really, really excited, honestly, about this. Moving on to, let's kind of see where we are. So we've kind of done the snow. The snow is pretty much all covered. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, you will get the occasional wyvern kind of spawning up on top here, and I think that's because this area down here, even though it's the canyon area, is still considered quote unquote beach. So as you can see, we also have a Tropio here, so technically it's gonna be like they are technically considered in the beach area, so that's why you might see a spawn or two over if you're ever exploring this area too. So yeah, there's that. Let's see, looking for X Spinos in the bog biome. Yeah, so X Spinos are going to be in the swamp, which is just Whew. Or in that biome. You have two biomes to choose from. You have bad or worse. So you have the swamp and you have this biome, basically the canyon biome over there to get your X Spinos if that's what you're looking for. So griffins obviously are just natural spawn. Each spawn that I put in isn't replacing another spawn. It's just adding to the default list. So the spawns that are natural on this map will still naturally spawn. They might not spawn as frequently because now there's maybe 5, 6 to 10 dinos that are competing with that spawn spot. But the traditional dinos will still spawn in, which is nice. Let's see. I don't want to go back to the island yet because there's a couple of interesting things that I want to talk about with that. Let's go over to the Highlands. The Highlands is kind of an interesting area. Well, there's two. That's not even the Highlands. That's the jungle. Let's head over this way because we're going to kind of go past the beach. Let's talk about in here, actually. Let's talk about Viking Bay. So Viking Bay is probably, at least from what I noticed, yes, there's crystal wyverns in this, so I've actually got those guys in. So basically, to kind of give a quick rundown, we haven't gone over where some more are, but just to kind of go over what we have gone over, tropical wyverns will be in the beach area, and then so far the blood and the ember wyverns are spawning in the desert. So moving on, though, just to kind of give you guys an idea, if you are looking for tropical wyverns, this is pretty much the beginning of their spawns down by the beach here. I would say the first one I usually see is about here, which is pretty much spot on. Like right around here is usually when you see them. This is when they start becoming pretty common. So you're pretty much from here all the way down to Blue Obelisk. So if this is something you're looking for, if you're ever on the server at level 60, 65, whatever it is, this is where you get them. Unfortunately, there is no prime crystal, the primal crystal or whatever, so you would have to get these guys just using via crystal. But taming rates are at 3, so it still should be pretty damn good. Magmasaurs, unfortunately, did not make the cut, and the reason is Magmasaur, you cannot breed on Ragnarok. It will actually kill them if they go into the lava, so I felt like there was no point in actually even bringing them if you can't even breed them. So Magmasaurs, unfortunately, did not make the cut. I think at the end what we'll do is, once I go through all the creatures that have made the cut, I'll actually kind of stop and go over every single creature that did not make the cut, and I'll explain, like, kind of what happened, just to kind of get everybody caught up on the same page. So we'll leave those for the end, basically. So moving on. Obviously, again, this is still considered beach and everything, so you will get some tropical wyverns over here. Again, it's just going to get rarer and rarer the further you move down, basically. But now we're basically in the grassland. So here, traditionally, you do have a lot of spawns and everything. Right now, it is a little, what's the word I'm thinking of? It's a little bare, so I do have to figure out in the settings kind of how to bump this area up specifically. And I think it's because of the volcano and further areas. We have a lot of creatures spawning over there, so I think that's probably what's taking up a lot of these spawns, because this is kind of desolate for an area that is actually traditionally pretty busy. But again, I did a server wipe. Well, actually, I just went through the settings, maybe just finalizing the settings less than an hour ago, so there is a chance that stuff is still trying to spawn in and everything. It could be the weights that I have put on everything. But again, just a little bit of tweaking and everything to kind of get this all up and running again. Why? Okay, it's 10 a.m. Okay. I was going to say, why does it look like it's evening already? If you guys, it's just a rag for right now as we get more. Yeah. Yeah, so let's see. If you breathe fire on it with a fire wyvern. Okay, I mean, I'm not sure if that's something that's going to come on over, but we'll kind of figure that. Again, it's not, the server's not ready to go. This is just kind of just a little walkthrough of kind of what's been worked on in the meantime. But as you guys can see here, this is your second area where you will find both ember and blood crystal wyverns. In this area too, you do get a lot of X variants. Again, X variants from the volcano biome. We're in the volcano biome, so it makes sense that they're near the volcano here on Ragnarok. So you're gonna have X Ankies. You're also gonna have X Trikes in here and X Aloes. Unfortunately, the X-Rex did not make the cut because it's kind of similar to what we talked about with the megalodons before. Unfortunately, whenever I was putting in the code for the volcano, it's like Volcano Rex basically to have it be an X Rex. It wasn't actually spawning in X Rexes. It ended up spawning in just normal Rexes. So it ended up being like double to triple the amount of spawns of normal Rexes versus having the variant, so it ended up getting scrapped. Same kind of thing with the Megalodon. We ended up having some areas with 20 to 25 Megalodons at once, which was just a little too much, let's put it that way. I do want the server to be tough, but it was a little crazy, let's put it that way. And yeah, the X variant will bleed into the Highlands a little bit, and the reason is that we'll kind of talk about it when we get over there, but you will see them in the Highlands too. Not as many, but there are a couple. But you do have a couple of bigger issues to worry about in the Highlands. We'll kind of leave it at that for a little bit. Let's talk about the ocean. The ocean was an interesting one because this was tough. I'm going to be honest. We haven't actually done all the tests with the ocean yet, but right now we have, let me kind of go through the list here on what we have so far. So there's obviously a couple different biomes that we're working with, but deep ocean, which is going to be all the way down. Obviously the X-Donkey is getting a common and a common spawn rate, and the X-Mosa is also getting a common spawn rate. So expect those guys to be pretty predominant in the water. Let's be honest. We also have ocean floor Mosas. Mosa actually has a specific section here on Ragnarok. That's all X-Mosas, or as many as can spawn, basically. So if you're near the ocean floor, expect to see a lot of Mosas and X-Mosas. Ocean pretty much covers the shallower sections or closer to the top. So we have aberrant mantas, X-Bassies, and Ichthyosauruses too. Which is nice, just to give you that X variant and everything like that. So yeah, I would have loved to put the Megalochelyon, but unfortunately what was happening with them is Megachelyon spawns perfectly, no problem. The problem is to actually tame them, you need the parakeet fish. Oh my god, I did that twice already. The parakeet fish, or they're also called microbe swarms. And the problem is the micro swarm doesn't matter if I was putting in a deep ocean, if I was putting in an ocean, it was coming up out of the water and flying around. Now, don't get me wrong, the things look absolutely beautiful. Like, they look really nice. It's actually kind of interesting. I was actually going to possibly keep the parakeet fish in here because it gives a nice little, like, they look really nice, honestly. They just spawn in the air, but they kind of fly around and everything, and it looks really cool. It's just like a little ambiance kind of thing. So there is a chance that the parakeet fish will be in here, but they're just for visual, let's put it that way. You can't do anything with them. They won't attack you or anything, obviously, because they're up in the air, but it looks really weird, but it's in a good weird. Let's kind of go with that. So this area for some reason has been spawning gotchas. Kind of going with the gotchas like we were talking about before. The spawn that I have them with is considered Caves Megalania. And I was trying to get them to spawn on that specific like little island that we discussed before down in the southern west side of the map. And I think Caves Megalania is just Megalania spawns. So obviously in this area on the beach here, you do tend to get some Megalania spawns. So unfortunately, gotchas are spawning here too. So you do have an easier place to get gotchas if need be. But yeah, I mean, obviously you still have some other threats to deal with here. You have, there's more spiders here. There's also, yeah, you have a ton of spiders. You also have the aberrant, spiders here too. You have an Arthropleura, aberrant Arthropleura, which means, again, double spawns of those. You have scorpions, aberrant scorpions, so again, double of those. Yeah, so it's you know, Titanoboas, that's right, and we have aberrant Titanoboas. So you have pretty much double the spawns in this area, which is pretty cool. Moving on. Now you obviously get to the Highlands. The Highlands, this is still considered beach. It's very, very rare to end up finding... we'll go over that in a little bit. I'll leave it at that. The Bloodstalker, we'll talk about him in a little bit. So, going over the Highlands area, the Highlands was definitely very, very interesting. This beach area is still considered beach, so you can get the random spawn of a tropical crystal wyvern. So it can actually occur. I've only seen it a couple times, so it can, but it can't. So yeah. But the Highlands has been really interesting because it's always been just like, and I don't know if it's because of the way that I set this up or anything. I've also noticed this in single player and stuff like that. Like when I'm playing, like doing the single player series and stuff like that, Ragnarok, Scotland for me has always been a really like late spawning area. So trying to get spawns in here has been definitely really, really difficult. But to give you guys an idea of what's here, anything that normally spawns here, the aberrant version will spawn here too. So not only Ovis, you can get the aberrant Ovis here. You can also get not only Equus, but you can get the aberrant Equus here too. Equises obviously are spawned up a lot just to kind of, you know, because it's Scotland. You need your horse. If you're coming here, you're getting your horse. But again, obviously a lot of tweaking with that. I will tell you guys, this is the biggest place I've had the biggest issue with Gigas. And here's why. The setting that I have, and this is the best I can get it, it's either going to spawn 1 or 4 Gigas. Let me repeat that. In the Highlands area, there's a chance of not having any. I have it at 1% chance. So, but the problem is, it's either 1 giga or it could be up to 4 gigas that spawn in the Highlands, but they aren't together. They're all split and everything like that. But I have not been able to figure out, and every time I change it, it either completely gets rid of them or it overspawns them. So I don't know what it is, but it's been very, very tricky with the gigas specifically. So that's always been fun. So anyways, obviously we're back down technically. This is considered beach, so you will find the occasional obviously, like, we have a Tropio over there that's kind of walking around. Tropios are rare, but again, they're not, you know, they're spawning, but they're not, I don't want them to spawn too much, let's put it that way. I don't know how much use for people, I don't know how much use the Tropio is going to be for people. That's why I was kind of like, well, you know, that kind of thing. But again, we have another Crystal Wyvern and another Crystal Wyvern, so, and another Tropio, so you know what, there's that. Anyways, let's kind of look around here to see if there are actually any Giga spawns or anything like that. I don't know. It's like I said, it's been very, very tricky here. I either get 1, I get 4, I get yada yada. You know, it's just been a little nuts. Okay. Guys, remind me remind me probably about 5 minutes. White loot drops. Someone put it in the comments in about 5 minutes. White loot drops. Just in case I forget, kind of. I have another thing I got to talk about with that specifically, so we'll go over that in a little bit. Let me see. Did you manage to get them to spawn clung to a surface? The other are we talking about the Bloodstalker? We'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's go with that. So obviously, we mentioned this in the comments down below. We mentioned this earlier. Sorry, that comments down below. Oh my god, sounds like the end of a video. We talked about this before, that obviously the X variants and the Wyvern Trench variants will still make their way over here. So you will see these. You will see these in the biome and everything like that. So yeah, you will get them over here. I don't really like them over here because it just doesn't make sense, but at the same time, there's nothing I can do about it. It's technically the Wyvern Trench is their spawn, so their spawn point can be up to here, and then they kind of spread out and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, on top of that, though, we do have a lot of more annoying creatures spawning in this area, being bug related and everything like that, so that's been a little bit interesting. Equus spawns I definitely have to get up, because I've noticed that because I'm getting everything else to spawn, Equus spawns have been a little lackluster, so I do need to bump that up a little bit more, I would say. So so yeah, but it doesn't look like there's a Giga right now. I could be totally wrong. I'm not exactly sure, but here's the catch. The Giga might not spawn now, right? But guess what, guys? Every 24 hours, this server respawns and refreshes. Sorry, not respawns. And what that means is it refreshes and does a dino wipe. So And that happens at midnight every night. So midnight, so 12 a.m. Eastern time, because I'm in the Eastern time zone. So every single midnight, the server will respawn. It'll restart and everything, which means that everything gets wiped and you start over, basically. Well, dinos wise, let's put it that way. So it'll do a dino wipe basically every single day. It's just to keep the server from getting running a little bit slower and everything like that, especially with all the additions that are on the map. Yeah, there's Ovises here. There's sheep here. So not only is there just the normal Ovis spawn, but there's Aberrant too, with the hopes that you do get a little bit more sheep spawns here, because obviously it's going to be tough enough, let's put it that way, getting everything else. Okay, so the Redwoods. Redwoods has been a bit interesting. A lot of the creatures that spawn in the Redwoods, I've just put the Aberrant ones in there. Honestly, that's been the biggest thing. Again, the Redwoods, right when I kind of did the Redwoods was fine, so it hasn't been too much finicky, too much moving or anything like that. It's been looking pretty good. Besides that, in the Redwoods, otter spawns are increased in the Redwoods. And the reason is I can't really get them to spawn in too many other places, so Redwood Lake should have some otters and everything. Not only will it be regular otters, but you also get the aberrant otters, and X-otters will actually spawn in the Redwoods too. And the reason for that is there's a lake right up here. This lake right here is actually considered Redwood. So as you guys can see, there's actually a otter right here, and that is a that's actually a X variant. Let's just double check that. Let's do this. So I can do this. What did that say? I didn't even know what that said. X-Otter, yeah, that's a 135 X-Otter. So if you want an X-Otter, you're going to have to come to the really, really cold biome. It is currently 18 degrees here, so you better make sure that you have your fur armor in order to get into this lake and that. But on top of that, just to make it easier for otters, we actually bumped up the spawns of coelacanths and also saber-toothed salmon. But saber-toothed salmon, not only is it regular saber-toothed salmon, it's also saber-toothed salmon. So I'm hoping that it just generates a lot more of them, so you basically can tame your otters no problem, let's put it that way. That's kind of the idea behind it. But in the Redwoods, there are plenty of otter spawns. Otters in general, I'm going to be honest on this map, are very, very tough to spawn in, so I tried to give them as many spawn points as I could. Now, does that mean it worked? I don't really know. There's obviously a lot more testing and everything that has to be done with this place. But yeah. Now, obviously, the big one, a couple of you guys have been talking about in the comments, Bloodstalkers. So, yes, Bloodstalkers are also on this map. They are also in the Redwoods. Unfortunately, I have not had them cling to the trees. I can do that. That is an option, which is kind of interesting. What I have to do is I actually change the Thylacoleo spawn on the tree, and I believe that would work. So I can technically go half and half in the tree with Thylas and Bloodstalkers, but for now they're just on the ground. But if they're on the ground, they will grab you. So like getting close enough to them, they should be able to grab you. He's done it earlier. What the hell? Alright, he's not going to do it right now, I guess. Maybe I have to be, like, fully on the ground, but I don't want to get in the way of the Carno. So, obviously, with Carnos spawning in the Redwoods, you will also have the aberrant version of the Carno in there, too. So, basically, to kind of reiterate, well, Thylas are already in the desert. I would probably just go 50-50 with Thylas and the Redwoods, because I still want that scare of the Thyla. Well, I don't. I want you guys to still have that scare of a Thyla jumping out of the tree at you. I personally don't want that, but that's why I won't really be coming to the Redwoods much in this server. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So to reiterate, basically everything in this entire map that spawns as a regular variant, the other variants are somewhere here, basically. So basically, for example, like a stego, obviously you guys saw aberrant stego. So we'll see. But yeah, it's kind of a work in progress with the Thylas, to be honest. I don't really know what I want to do with them yet, so good shout in the comments. I think that was I'm sorry, I don't even know who said about the blood stalkers. But whoever said that, great shout out, because that I wasn't actually thinking that, but kind of like thinking about the app in my head. Yeah, no, I could probably make that happen, where it could be Thylas and Bloodstalkers in the tree. As you can see, we got a couple of Thylas here. We have a Thyla there, and then a Thyla just pounced on something over here. What level is that Thyla? Anyways, that's a level 90. Okay. What's nice is, too, and what I really, really like is the fact that I kind of want to get close enough just to check out the level, but I don't want to pouncing. Oh, my God. That's a 145 Thyla, guys. That's pretty cool. Okay, anyways. Speaking of levels, that's actually a perfect segue. The reason I love using this map is because, obviously, it's the biggest custom map. I will say biggest custom because, yes, we all know Genesis Part 2 is the biggest map and everything to, come to Ark. But this is the biggest... Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's not. Crystal Isles is. Whoops. Why I like this map the best. That's why we did this map. I think everyone likes this map. I think everyone really, really likes Ragnarok. It doesn't matter if you go back through so many different people doing surveys and stuff like that on YouTube and trying to figure out... oh, let's see what level the egg is. It's a 45. Anyways. People doing different surveys. Like, you can check out everyone's channel. Like, Aaron Longstaff did something a while ago asking favorite maps. Ross Clark has done it. Numerous people have asked about what the favorite map and everything is. And it seems like Ragnarok is one of those maps that everyone really, really likes, even after all these years. So I felt like Ragnarok was the best map to kind of do all this on. The fact that you have all these different biomes and everything and how everything fits pretty nicely, I really, really like that. So let's talk about a few things. Let's talk about white drops first, which we got to find one. So let's go on the hunt for a white drop. So what I'm in the process of doing is, what's nice about this beacon app is I can custom loot drops. So what that means is, obviously, my concern was some of the dinos that we're bringing in here, all you can do is actually make your own saddle for them, primitive. So I am in the process of going through the loot table and kind of changing it and customizing it better for this map. So you should be able to theoretically get a saddle for every dino on this map if there's a saddle available, obviously. So that's kind of the gist. But let's see. We got to keep kind of looking around here for a white drop because there's a reason why we're looking for white specifically. Just to give you guys an idea, the white drop is the only one that I've kind of customized so far, and it's only for one specific item because that's going to segue into something else that we're going to talk about here. But of course, there's no white drop. Oh, you know what? Let's go over to the jungle because it's the blue biome. It's the easy biome. You tend to get white drops over there. Hey. I will say a lot of mammoths spawn in the frozen biome. That's always, but I feel like with me doing all this customization and stuff like that, it's been a little overboard, and I haven't touched the normal spawns. So like the mammoths, the megatheriums, that kind of thing. Like they're normal. It's just adding creatures to the default settings. So it's kind of funny that mammoths are just going a little overboard without me even doing anything. We'll talk about this lake first because I don't see any white drops around here. It's a purple drop. And usually they'll spawn around here. This lake has been the bane of my existence. So everyone should know this lake. This lake used to be able to have a ton of otters. And they did an update, I would say maybe a year ago at this point. And I don't know what it did, but otters never spawn here. And it's, like, impossible to get otters to spawn in this specific lake. You can spawn them in that lake, you can spawn them in that lake, you can spawn them in that lake. This lake, you cannot get them to spawn in, or at least I've had trouble. It's been, I would say, for me, it's been about 50-50. I get sometimes maybe 1 or 2 spawns in here. Sometimes I get none. I will get the fish, and I will get the salmon, Otters are a different story, and I don't know what it is. So if you are looking for otters, there is a chance you're not going to be able to find them in here, unfortunately. You may have to go somewhere else. But since we have a minute, let's take a quick look. You never know. Maybe I'll just be completely wrong, and there'll be an otter in here. That's an otter, isn't it? Oh my god. Okay, well, never mind. There is an otter in here. I love how I just did that whole speech. And it's a level... Did I say 150? No, 90. Okay. Getting ahead of myself. But... Okay, so this big lake, it looks like one otter. So, it is what it is. Let's kind of get out of here, though, because the problem is, like, in creative mode, like, water-wise, you just, like... There we go. Okay. you still move really, really slow in the water and everything. So there could be one or two in here or whatever, but for this big, big lake, there's not really a lot of otter spawns, and there's nothing that I can really do about that. Let's see if there's any white spawns coming down. I couldn't get rid of the weather, unfortunately. I do have disable fog and all that on, but, like, it doesn't do anything. So I don't really know how to change that. Like, we get the weird weather effect that happens on Ragnarok, which really, really stinks. That looks like a white drop. Yellow. Shoot. All right. And now it's just completely foggy, and I'm trying to, like, maze myself through here. Oh, my god. Well, while the fog's here, I guess we could talk about the creatures that didn't make the cut and their reasons. And it's raining, too, of course. So let's talk about the ones that did not make the cut. So we did go through the Magmasaurs, and the reason is that Magmasaurs cannot breed on Ragnarok. And it's because you need to put them in lava, and they won't actually mate in the lava because they'll end up dying. Yes, you guys mentioned in the comments that you can actually use a fire wyvern, so I don't know. Maybe it's coming to the map. I don't know yet. That's one. Reapers, I have no idea where they would make sense on this map, so Reapers are probably a no. I'm going to just probably say no right now. To me, it does not make sense, and... there's another reason, but I don't want to go into why no Reapers yet, because I don't want to give out false promises. We'll kind of leave it at that. Moving on. Rock Drake, same thing. Well, one, same thing, and two, because of egg spawns and everything, it's been nearly impossible to do. It was really difficult to use the Fire Wyvern to breed them. Okay, so I don't see... Okay, so... We can probably test it out on our own, and then we can kind of figure it out if it really makes sense to bring them over or not like that. But I think with the coding and stuff like that, it might not make sense to bring Magmasaurs over. So if I were to take a guess right now, it's probably 90% no to Magmasaurs, 10% yes. I'll say that. Most likely no, though, let's be honest. For me... If you guys notice, with the creatures that I picked and where I put them, I try to make sense of it. I try to put them in their most natural environment. And personally, when it comes to the Reapers, there's no natural environment. The Astrocetus, there's no, there's no space. So, no, not on this map. What else? Magmasaurs we went over. Megashelions, were fine. The only issue was the microbe swarms, so that's the reason why we didn't really get those to work, unfortunately. So Megashelions, as much as I love those things, I really want them on this map so badly, but it's just not going to work, or at least I can't figure out why it would. Everything that requires an egg, so rock drakes, Deinonychus, stuff like that, they're not going to be on the map either. And the reason is the egg spawns are considered a structure, so it's not really something that I can change in the INI files to make it happen. Carcanos, no. For now, no. And the reason is, again, a lot of these creatures, I kind of was like, Bloodstalker. Oh, Redwoods. The Volanosaur, the desert. Gas bags, desert, but maybe also mountainous areas. Like, I kind of had a spot for everything. Carcanos, I was kind of like, because let's be honest, on Crystal Isles, the location that they're in, to me, does not make sense. Like, to me, it doesn't make sense where the Carcanos are on Crystal Isles. And there's another reason, again, it kind of falls in the line with the Reaper, why Karkanos may not make it on this map. And that's something that I'll have to figure out at a later time. But there is a very good chance that Karkanos might not be on this map. And it's because I'm thinking more, not this map, but future. Let's kind of leave it at that. Depending on how this one goes, obviously. But what else do we have? What else didn't make the cut? I would have to... If there's any in the comments that I didn't say yet, let me know, because I can let you know if it's on this map or not. Astro Cetus is not on here. It doesn't make sense. There's no point in putting that. Wyverns-wise, you have the Ice Wyvern that naturally spawns, obviously. You have the Fire Wyvern, the Poison Wyvern, and you have the Lightning Wyvern. You also have the 3 tropical variants, but you do not have the alphas. So you will not be able to get Primal Crystal. The only way to tame the Crystal Isle variants is with normal Crystal. The server is going to be at 3 tamings, so you could still probably pull off. You could still probably pull off a perfect tame. I'm not really sure. Nah, Zombie Wyvern, no. And the only reason is that's an event thing. So an event thing I'm not going to put on here. So that includes like Dodo Wyvern and stuff like that. No, none of that will be on the map. And the reason is, again, like each dino that we're adding and stuff like that, it just adds more and more to the server. So we haven't even added players yet. I don't know how this is going to work with 10 players, you know what I mean? So starting out really, really slow, but there is a... Oh, you can get Primal Crystal from knocking them out. Okay, then there's your way. How do you dino wipe? So I've been doing a few different things. So on the Nintrado server, there's a setting that I click that allows a refresh every single time I update everything. Whether it spawns, whether it's settings, all that kind of stuff. But if not, I have admin commands, so I'll just go in there and cheat, destroy wild dinos to kind of make the spawns and everything go again. This rain's lasting a little longer than I expected. I'm used to the center, basically, so where it lasts like a couple minutes, but it's in like 15-minute spans. So Griffins... Wait. Do you know how Griffins are going to work? What do you mean? Yeah, so Griffins work normally. They're a natural spawn in this, but you can't breed them. I don't have a way of breeding Griffins, but because they're the original ones on this map, they stay. There's been nothing done to them. I will say Griffins are laggy, and I've noticed that not only on this server, but I've noticed it on servers. Whether you've watched like people play on servers and stuff, they're just naturally laggy. I can show off a Griffin to show you guys, but it always seems to like happen, basically, where they're always laggy. Oh, white drop. Sweet. Okay, so going over drops, I mentioned this before. This is perfect. This is with a ring around it. Perfect. White drops I've kind of customized right now. I'm still in the process of fully doing them. I've only added one thing to the supply crates, and it's not a 100% chance of getting it, but it is this guy right here. Yes, that is a plant species Z-Seed, and if you guys know what that is used for, you're going to be very, very excited. Let's put it that way. Let's head over to a normal white drop first before we go anywhere. And we'll kind of figure out what you have to do with the Z-Seed. I think people know what you do with a Z-Seed, but just in case if you don't, we will go over that. So Z-Seed is a aberration-specific plant. So the Z-Seed is actually used for, one, if you're on aberration, it'll actually, like, you plant it, it illuminates your base. It actually prevents, it prevents Nameless from spawning and stuff. Oh yeah, Nameless are not on this map either, because again, it doesn't make sense. They do something else, though. If you guys have played Aberration, I think you guys know where we're going here, but I'm going to wait for this drop to come on down, and then we'll head over to a certain area. But besides that, it's been kind of tricky. It's been kind of tricky getting, well, the Z plant was tough to do. Originally, we kind of we attempted to set it up that if you killed a Dilo, you would get them, but that was like part of its kind of list of things that it could drop was the whatchamacallit? Was the part of like their loot drop. Like when you killed a Dilo, there was a chance of getting a Z species seed, but it ended up working that it ended up working out that I can actually get them inside of the loot drop. So for right now, white drops have only been updated with this. That's the only thing I got, basically. Obviously, they're spawning a lot, which I do have to figure out, and that's because I've customized it. It's making you do a lot, but here's the catch. Plan C's species seed is not guaranteed, so you do have to go hunting a little bit. We just got lucky with the ring around it. I do have more of a chance of grabbing Z species seed in the ring around it. There's a higher chance of it happening, but it's not 100% guarantee. The other thing is, in a normal white drop, the most you can get is 5. And in a ring around it, the most you can get is 10. So, yes, you are able to tame specific creatures with it, which are the aberrant light creatures, yes, which include the Featherlight, the Bulbdog, and Arksmoke's coveted creature, for who knows what reason, the Shinehorn. So the Shinehorn is also spawning into the map now, and we are heading over to my favorite area called, it's actually called Monkey... It's not going to tell me on here, is it? Oh god, what do we call it? Monkey Island, I think, is the specific name, like the spawn name. I call this Jerboa Island, so if you guys know it, you guys will most likely know it as Jerboa Island. But let's kind of drop down here. So obviously Jerboas do spawn here. You also get Dimetrodons that spawn here, and you get Dimorphodons that spawn here. I've actually gotten rid of the Dimetrodons and the Dimorphodons to allow more spawns of specific creatures, but we obviously have a Jerboa. We have a Shinehorn. So we have multiple Shinehorns. There's clearly another one in the area, which is nice. So they're spawning in nicely. Jerboas are spawning normally, which is good. I did see one in the air a little while ago. I don't know where he went, but there is a Featherlight around here. But all of the aberrant creatures are spawning here. So to give you guys a little insight of kind of how this all started, I actually, the first creature that we ever got onto this map, you guys could see a couple Jerboas, Shinehorn, there's another Jerboa back there. I did see a Bulbdog here. I don't know where it went. But Bulbdogs are also on here too. I've actually made it where the Shinehorn and the Featherlight, oh, there's a Featherlight, are a little more common than the Bulbdog, because I'm going to be honest, I feel like more people tend to like the Featherlight and like the Shinehorn over the Bulbdog and the Glowtail. But there are Glowtails and Bulbdogs spawning in. They're just not as common because I wanted to give more of the spawns to Shinehorns and to Featherlights. So, oh yeah, there's a couple Bulldogs now. So, all your glow pets are going to be here, basically. So kind of going over the history of how this started, I got the server, and then I was like, well, what if we started doing custom creatures? And the first one we actually ended up spawning over here, just to test it out, was the Ferox. We actually got a Ferox. We actually got Feroxes to spawn in this little island, which was really, really cool. Originally, this was Feroxes and Gotchas, just to try out small and large creatures, just to see how it was going to work. But, yeah, it started out with that, and now that was 4 or 5 days ago, and now we have an entire server pretty much full, so it's kind of crazy. But anyways, what was I going to say? I will say, Feroxes, we have learned that you do... Obviously, you need Element to tame Feroxes, but there is the bug still in the game that they will naturally just start growing even though you did not feed them Element. So beware of that if you are going Ferox hunting or going into the snow biome at any point. They can come up to you and automatically start growing. And it's something that's really, really rare, but it does happen. We've had it happen twice in testing so far. Let's see. I don't know if there's anything. I feel like there's a few more things. Um, I don't know if there was anything else that we've actually. I think I've covered pretty much all of the map, kind of the creatures and everything. So obviously creatures have been kind of reworked and everything like that. There's still a little bit more work to do. I do feel like the amount of creatures is a little light. So I am gonna up that just a little bit. I don't want to go too much. Oh yeah, basilisks. Sorry, basilisks did not make the cut, and there's actually a reason. I actually wanted them to spawn in the volcano region. But the volcano region does not allow. For some reason, I put in the code and everything. I put it at 100% chance it should spawn all that basilisks in the volcano region, and was not working. I just don't think basilisks would be in the desert anyways, which is why I was thinking the desert, but I felt like the volcano just made a little more sense. But have not been able to get basilisks to spawn or anything like that. But again, kind of thinking in the future, some of the creatures that aren't making this map, if things go well, we'll, hint but not hint at it. Let's put it that way. So let's talk about Gen 2. Because everyone wants to know about Gen 2. So obviously Gen 2 is coming out. I don't know what the idea is with the creatures. Obviously, I'm going to go over all the creatures and everything like that to kind of figure out what they do, the buttons, all that kind of stuff. So expect those videos like right when Gen 2 comes out and everything like that. I don't know what the time is. I know that you cannot have a server move over to Gen 2 for like 2 weeks. I think that's kind of the rule. I don't know about moving creatures to your server, so we're going to give that a shot. We're going to see if we can get some of the Gen 2 creatures over here. Now, here's the cool part. A wildcard just told us yesterday that there are color variant dinos coming to Gen 2. That includes the Velonosaur, that includes the Snow Owl, that includes the Thyla. Yeah, the Snowy Thyla, I can't wait. That includes the White Thyla, that includes the Dire Wolf gets a new color revamp. The Equus gets something. The Quetzal, I think, was in the picture. The Giga. There's a lot of other creatures that are kind of getting, not reworked, but recolored. What I want to do is, when Gen 2 comes out, if there's a way that I can transfer the colors over to this map too, to just give us more variety, that would be cool. So, like, White Thylas would probably end up in the snow region, because then they would be like snowy cats. Dire Wolves in the snow region will also have their new color variant along with their normal variant. Equises in the Highlands will not only spawn with aberrant colors and regular, but they'll also have this X color, whatever it's kind of been teased. Whatever creature makes sense to go onto this map will make it onto this map. I'm gonna say right away. I don't think. Well, you know what? We'd probably put Noglins over in the aberration section. I gotta see how they work first before we kind of make judgment and ideas on them. But I feel like Noglins would probably end up over there if I were to guess right now. But obviously, like, once this map, we'll obviously do more streams and stuff like that, kind of going over the progress of the map, when it's going to become public and all that kind of stuff. In my head right now, Shadowmane makes sense in the jungle. I think that would be scary. Imagine the Shadowmane in the deep, deep jungle. Female, which means it's going to be invisible. Whew. That sounds scary. And here's the fun part. The jungle's the easy area. The jungle is the starter area. That's Blue Obelisk. So I'm kind of curious about that. I think that would actually be kind of cool. To put a alpha predator in there, if you will. At least from in my head, that's kind of how I think it's going to go. Tech Wyverns or Void Worms, whatever they're calling them, probably won't make the map, I'll be honest. Just kind of, again, thinking in my head. Unless we make it a very rare spawn and put it, like, kind of mixed in with all the other Wyverns, kind of just let it be in there. I don't know how you'd end up getting it, though, because, again, if it requires an egg. What other creatures have been talked about? The Mawwing would probably end up the Mawwing, the nursing dino will probably end up in the grasslands, I'm thinking. Maybe even the Redwoods. Again, just thinking kind of the top of my head where these things would go. Obviously, the variants will end up where their normal variants are. And I think, yeah, that's kind of the idea, that adding all these creatures and stuff like that is going to increase the difficulty. Oh, you know what? Let's go over some settings, too, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what's going on here. So, a lot of the people... Oh, they aren't? I don't know. I thought I watched the Twitch thing that they did, but I didn't hear anything about, like, anything new. So clearly I didn't watch the whole thing, or I didn't watch a certain part of it, because, like, I watched everything, but, like, well, I thought I watched everything. But everything that I heard was stuff that was already announced. Like, nothing was new. So, I don't know. If it's not typical egg thievery, then we'll talk about that once, you know, once Gen 2 comes out, and we can kind of figure out where they would make sense on this map. Or, you know, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, so glow pets and everything are on here. Here's the thing. I actually have 2 locations for both glow pets and gotchas. I actually have a second location. It's supposed to... I'm going to say supposed to, because I don't know if it's actually working or not, because it's too dark in there for me to see, and even when I put gamma all the way up, I still cannot see in there. The castle cave, the cave under the castle, that's very, very, very dark. I've coded it where glow pets and gotchas are also in there, but I have not come across them yet, and I don't know if it's because, I don't know if it was because I haven't visited the caves much, so they haven't technically spawned in. Or the fact that maybe my spawn code is wrong, and they're not actually in there. I'm not exactly sure, so that has to be kind of worked on and figured out. But for now, the spawns and everything are pretty good. They just have to be tweaked a little bit. So I would say probably Phase 1 is pretty much done, with kind of bringing this map to light. Next project is Phase 2. Phase 2 is going to be all loot, specifically. So like we talked about in this one, just to kind of give you a little bit of a idea of what's going on, loot crates are all going to be reworked. Not only the crates, but also the loot drops. That's kind of my plan with that, because we do have a lot of these creatures coming in, but we don't have the correct saddles and stuff like that for them. I think I started to go over settings and kind of stopped. A lot of people that watch my content have also agreed that they like the grind of Ark and everything like that. So this server is half XP. And the reason is I feel like one official XP is very quick, especially at the beginning levels, especially if you're in a tribe, especially if, you know, because you basically get XP from every single thing that every person does in the tribe. So half XP has actually been working out pretty well for us. We still have leveled, well, you know, the admins have leveled up very quickly. I, on the other hand, have been doing the all the coding and stuff, so obviously I haven't leveled as quickly, but it's still a grind, but it's not too bad. I don't want a server where it's 50 times taming, 50 times this, 50 times that, because it takes the fun out of it, especially in 3 seconds where you end up with tech. So that's always a thing. Breeding levels are, breeding levels you fast. So, like, if you end up killing something and whatever, breeding stats have been skyrocketed too, but it actually works out, which I'm really, really excited about. Let me kind of go over the how quickly breeding happens, but at the same time, it is still possible with my rates to get yourself a perfect tame, which is awesome. These numbers are going to sound like a lot, I'm going to be honest, but I'll kind of give you an idea of what that means for some notable creatures. Mature speed is 170. Incubation speed is 120. Mating interval, which is the time in between, is 0.0005. An imprint period multiplier, which is how the amount of time for imprints, is 0.00875, which means each imprint period is 4 minutes and 12 seconds apart, which is how many imprints, how much time in between each imprint. Now, every single dino, you can theoretically get a perfect imprint, and you do have a little bit of time just in case for mistakes. Most notably, to give you an idea, the aloe in total takes about 17 minutes to fully mature. And obviously, some of these will sound very, very fast. And here's the thing. Obviously, besides like playing this game, we all enjoy playing this game, but let's be honest, we all have lives outside of this game. There's no, especially because this is a non-official server, there's no point in having something there's no point in having something in the maturation process for 3 hours, 4 hours. Like, no, I would never sit there for that amount. I don't expect you guys to sit there for that amount. I've actually worked it where every single dino can be fully imprinted and everything like that with these stats. Some of them is very, very tight, I'm going to be honest. But for example, the most notable creature that is the longest is the Giga. Obviously, we all know that. I'm going to be honest, I don't know how long it takes for a Giga to mature on a normal server, but on our server in total, it is... Oh, that's Magmasaur. Where's Giga? Should be towards the bottom, because I have this by... Oh, no, I don't. I have this by alphabetical. Oh, there we go. E, F, G, Giga. Here we go. Giga in total mature time is 1 hour and 26 minutes and 6 seconds. So, which, to be honest, that's not bad. So, yeah, it's not too bad. I will say with some of the dinos, you have about a minute. I would say you have about... a minute to I would say a minute to 5 minute lenience depending on what the creature is. When we were breeding equises with this, we had about 45. We had about, I would say, over a minute lenience with each imprint. Only takes 3 imprints to get yourself a perfect equus. But in example, most of them you're doing 3. I would say most of them you're doing about, well, obviously smaller creatures like the Jerboa is 1 imprint. But most of the creatures you're looking at 3 to 7 is probably your imprint amount of imprints. Obviously, the bigger the dino, the more imprints. Kind of going back to the Giga, just to give you guys an example, which is the most, obviously. 20 total imprints, which again isn't, compared to what you guys do on official and stuff like that, is not the end of the world. So it's not it's not too bad, honestly. So, obviously, we do have some reworking and stuff to do with this kind of stuff, but I am really, really liking the progress so far and kind of where this is going. Now, let's talk about kind of how this server is going to get to you guys. So, a couple of announcements with that. So, obviously, for right now, it's a 10-man server, but obviously it's not open yet. But once it does officially open to you guys, it's going to be a total of 10. We're going to start with 10. If you guys are that interested in it and it looks like you guys are really wanting more, then I'll bump it up. I just don't want to go 30, 40, 50 people and then we only end up getting 6 people in the server, you know what I mean? But if it's the other way around where I bring it up to 10 and right away there's 10, then, we'll kind of work it. But how do you get into the server? So, I've actually created a Patreon, so I can put the link in the thing. And the idea is that, obviously there's different levels that I have with the Patreon and everything like that. It starts out at, just a donation, just basically hey, if you support me, you support kind of what I'm doing, you can donate $1 a month, basically, to kind of help me out, help fund the project, basically. Obviously, $1 a month, the most you can go up to is $25 a month, and obviously that gives you a lot of different perks and everything like that. If you guys kind of want to go through that, that should be the link to the Patreon and stuff like that. And there's all different perks and everything there. I won't go over it too much, but basically the idea is that if you do the Patreon, Obviously, there are certain sections for upcoming servers, which would include this one. Higher you go into the Patreon, like higher level, obviously you have more of a, obviously you have the, what's the word I'm thinking of, priority to get into the server and everything like that. But once we actually get into 10, it would probably be cut off for a little bit just to kind of see how we're looking. Then we would bump up if need be. I also have to see how the server's running and everything like that. So it would really be a not only a first come first serve basis. Obviously, if you join the level that gives you access to the server, basically. Not only that, but if obviously you do the higher one, then you get more priority. I think you guys kind of know how this goes, basically. I assume you guys have seen other YouTubers talk about Patreon and stuff like that, and making all this kind of stuff. So this isn't really news to you guys. But besides that, we do have a Discord. We do have that, so any questions and stuff, you can throw it up on there. If you guys have Metal or Zafira, if you want to put up the link again to the Discord and everything like that. If you guys have any questions, you can throw it up on there. Obviously, it's a family-friendly Discord. Don't, we'll ban. We've done it. We banned within the first hour of having it. Like, if you're out of line, you're gone. Just keep it friendly. Keep it nice. Like, I think you guys all know how to kind of work. Yeah, that's kind of, I don't think there's really anything else to cover, at least for right now. I think we're pretty good. Obviously, once we have all the settings and kind of set in stone and everything like that, we'll kind of continue, and we'll kind of let you guys know kind of what's going on with that. I will say that even though we are on Xbox, there is some things that are limited. There's things that you can do on PC regardless that you can't do on here. It is what it is. It's just the name of the game. I will say that we do have structure pickup on, so you can pick up your structures at any point. That was something that I could actually set up for you guys, so you don't have 30 seconds. You can pick it up after 2 weeks if you want, basically. So it's not too bad. I'm trying to think what else we kind of, obviously, like, we'll do another stream eventually just so I can show you guys, like, the updates and everything going on with this, but I am really, really excited about this, and I honestly think Ragnarok is the best map to do this on. Watch I end up saying all this, and we end up seeing that Genesis 2 blows everything out of the water. But for now, I'm really, really liking... Oh, we'll talk about Griffins. Someone was asking before about Griffins. So this is what I'm talking about. On the servers, period, they're always this kind of, like... This one in flight's not too bad, but you can see he's kind of, like... jutting along. Like, you can see the stutters, and that's on every server. This isn't just like, this happens all the time. Ooh, that's a 135. It happens all the time, and I've seen this on watching different ARC YouTubers on their servers and stuff like that. This is just a thing, and it's really weird, especially because this is the map that it's natural on. Like, I ended up spawning one on the island, because the idea was originally that this was going to be all done on the island, but we ended up picking Ragnarok, and I think it ended up working out better. But I thought the glitch, this kind of glitchy thing, was just because I was moving them over to another map, but this is just how they are. And it's weird because it's kind of weird because, like, on single player, they don't do this. Like, on single player Xbox, this does not happen. But on console, they do, which is, on a server, they do, which is a little weird. So I don't really know, and I can't fix that. It is what it is. Like, it's not too bad, but, like, it's just a little weird to what they're doing. I don't really know. But the reason why I do like doing it on a custom map like Ragnarok here is because we naturally can get higher spawns. Like, we just saw that Griffin, as I continuously miss this guy. I want to see what level this guy is. This guy's a 15, but, that's like a 135. We also saw, oh yeah, Megalosauruses just randomly spawn everywhere too, so be ready for that, guys. We'll see. Megalosauruses were part of the general wildlife spawn that I had set up, so they kind of spawn in just random places throughout the map. So Megalosauruses on this map won't be too bad, because honestly they are in that drowsy effect. Ah, there's a Giga. What level is the Giga? This Giga's a level 20? 20. Okay. Anyways, yeah, yeah, there's a lot of creatures that will just randomly spawn in all different spots, but they're not really that out of place, which is nice. I would say the most out of place dinos is obviously over in the Highlands, where we get a little bit of the X variant from the Wyvern Trench kind of moved over there, but it kind of is what it is. Like, that's not that big of a deal, but like, I feel like putting just random dinos into the map just to have them in the map, I don't know, it doesn't really work too, you know, it's my opinion. But we are on Ragnarok, so basically, Ragnarok server, and I ended up going through and customizing a lot of spawns and everything like that. So the whole map is completely reworked, let's put it that way. Like I said, this is going to be the first phase. There's plenty more to come with this. But pretty much, yeah, I think that's going to kind of be it. What are you guys feeling? Are you guys excited about this? Is this something that, like, you guys are looking forward to? Like, what are we kind of thinking in the comments? Any suggestions? Yeah, so Karen, if I'm saying that correctly, it could be Karan. This isn't actually going to be like a playthrough of Rag. This is going to be an actual server that we're going to be hosting eventually down the line. A lot of it is just completely custom. There's still a lot of work that has to go into it. I would suggest once this stream is done, go back, because I think we've been doing this for like an hour and a half already, basically. An hour and a half, basically, and there's a lot going into it, basically, so far, and there's a lot to come with this guy. So we'll kind of see what we're looking at and everything here. So really excited. But yeah, when it comes to the Patreon too, like, obviously there's all different levels and everything to it. Obviously the higher you go, the more perks and stuff you get, but technically the server would be the lowest tier server is just $5 a month, but technically it goes all the way up to like 25 would be probably the most average, but that also comes with a lot of other perks and everything too. But if you were just looking for server play, it's $5 a month, so it's not too bad. But we'll see. Well, this actually isn't PC. This is actually on the Xbox. But I'm actually on a Nintrado server, which is nice that you can actually do a lot of the stuff on console. It's not PC. So, no, I don't actually do PC or anything specifically. Just for the recording stuff is PC. That's kind of it. But obviously, I'm going to open it up to you guys. So, do we have any questions? Do we have anything that I can answer right now, at least, so far? Ravagers in the caves would be nice. Yeah, that's something I would add to. I have to see. Still gotta figure out how to actually. I gotta see if the aberrant glow pets and stuff actually spawned inside of the cave and everything, which would be kind of cool. But if that doesn't work, there is another option, you know what I mean? There is a plan B, and it's an easier one, but like, if you want that immersive experience of getting your aberrant creature in a cave, like, there is a potential chance of that, which is nice. Yeah, any other questions kind of like that I can answer about the server? Obviously in the future we'll do another stream, kind of show you progress and stuff like that of what's going on. But like what improvements we've made, stuff like that. Obviously, we're getting there. We're basically getting there on setting up and stuff like that. Yeah, there's also a suggestion page on there, which will probably work for obviously this video and everything too. So does Beacon app let you set a Z coordinate for spawns? I'm gonna be honest, I don't. Let me take a quick look here. Creature spawn. It probably does. I'm going to be honest. Again, when it comes to coding and stuff like that, I'm not familiar. Like, this is a whole learning curve for me, trying to do all this. So even getting this far for me has been like, you know, I would say impressive. I know you guys wouldn't say that because it's not a crazy amount, but for me, going from learning nothing to this is a big step. But let me take a quick look here. Let's see if we want to do canyon. Let's just put a aberrant acatina in the canyon. Kind of it gives me an idea, like it says like, oh, do you want the thing to be an average spawn? Do you want a common? Do you want it this? And then, yeah, it gives me an offset, so I can actually set the offsets to offset X, Y, and Z coordinates for everything. So, yeah, if I want to go in a little bit more nitty-gritty and stuff like that, I can. I haven't gotten that far and stuff like that yet, only because, again, I'm still new at this. I'm still trying to figure stuff out, so I didn't really know what coordinates would make sense, if that makes sense. Yeah, that could possibly be it with the basilisks, to maybe spawn in the basilisks at a higher point. So we'll see. Yeah, so it's been an interesting ride. It's been a lot of work. And the biggest issue is that obviously Beacon is like a how's it going, Giovanni? Yeah, you're a little late, but this was last minute though, I'm gonna be honest. So but yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so I'm using the Beacon app, which is a third-party company and everything like that. And what it does is it basically takes all the stuff that I want and kind of converts it into the INI, the game user settings and all that, and then moves it over to. It ends up moving it over to the Nintrado server, which I have linked to it. The problem is that the language, basically the language that it's putting into Nintrado isn't registering in Nintrado, so. And then Nintrado's settings changes, so I basically, every time I have to change a spawn or anything like that, I have to re-go through Nintrado and set up everything again. PvP, setting up, resetting up, taming. I have to reset the fact that we want structures to always be able to be picked up. We need to, you know what I mean? Like, we didn't, yeah. Like every single setting that I've set up on Intrado gets wiped and I have to build it again. And then every time, and that includes on Beacon, if I have to change the gotcha spawn from 0.2 in weight to 0.25 in weight, and then move that over, then I gotta do it all over again. And then all over again. Oh yeah, you know what? Let me turn off creative mode for a second here, because we do have auto levels set up. So what that does is basically, which is another PC thing, anytime it's not going to do it for me, is it because I have creative mode technically still on. Basically what that does is it automatically, if I go over to here, every time I unlock a level, it will actually unlock that specific thing. Right now, it's still considering me in creative mode, which is why everything's unlocked. But I do have auto leveling or auto unlock on here, basically, which doesn't include tech stuff, because obviously tech stuff you have to fight the boss and stuff like that. Haven't really gotten that far with all that kind of stuff. Auto levels, no, I have it set up where auto levels do not unlock tech. So there was an option for that, so I did that because tech is technically getting it through, through boss fights and stuff like that. So no, it won't be unlocked. There's certain things that unlock tech-wise, like the traditional stuff that you can get unlocked, but I ended up changing it in the Beacon app where it won't unlock the tech items, which is nice, through leveling. So that's just through the whatchamacallit. So, is it a problem on the PC? Setting this all up has been a non-stop problem, but it's been a learning experience. It's been a lot of fun doing it. It's definitely tedious. I've learned a lot doing this. But it has been an issue. A lot of stuff has been an issue kind of setting this up, which is why I wanted to show off everything. Well, again, too, this isn't technically, it is PC, but it's not, because I'm doing this on a Xbox server. So it might not be 100% the same way that you would do it on, it might not be 100% the same way that you would do it on PC. I'm not really sure. I'm not an expert in this. I will guaranteedly say that. The admins can let you know that literally when I brought up this idea, like 4 or 5 days ago, I had no idea how to do any of this. So this has been a learning curve the entire time for me. And it started by spawning one creature, actually two. We ended up spawning the Ferox, and we ended up spawning the the gotcha over on Jerboa Island, and then from there it kind of grew like, well, what else can we do with this? And it kind of grew from there. So this has been a whole learning curve for me, honestly. So when it comes to setting up all this INI alterations and stuff like that, I have no idea. The app kind of does it for me. And whatever the app kind of doesn't say I can do, then I assume I can't do. So I kind of live by the app at this point, the Beacon app. And then everything else that I can change in the INI files, I do manually through Nintrado, stuff like that. But again, everything's been a learning curve. It's been plenty of Google searches. I would say, yeah, to give you guys an idea, it's been 40 to 50 hours at least just to get this far. So it's definitely been a learning experience, I'll say that. But it's been enjoyable, and there's a lot more to come. Let's put it that way. So this is just the start. Obviously, some of you guys have just gotten here. Just to give you a quick rundown, it's been an hour and 45 minutes now, but give you a quick rundown. This is a Ragnarok server that we are trying to get up and going. It's starting in the works. We've custom added dinos to the map. Including dinos from Crystal Isles, from Aberration, from every single map that these dinos don't spawn on, have integrated over to this map, whether they're X variants or Aberrant variants, have made their way over here. We've also done a little bit of, very little, just to kind of test it out, of custom loot drops. And then, yeah, kind of setting up the server and hopefully going to get it going, you know, in time. But right now it's been just I just wanted to kind of do a stream because obviously we have Gen 2 coming up and everything like that, but I thought at this point we've made enough progress where I felt like it was good to kind of show it off and let you guys know kind of what's been going on behind the scenes, since there hasn't really been a lot of up-to-date content, if you will. And obviously, that's also because of Gen 2 delay and everything like that. So, yeah. Okay, so to anything else? No, so unfortunately, it would be just Xbox and Win 10. So it wouldn't be, if you are PS4, PS5, if you're PC through Steam, unfortunately, no. There's no way, which really stinks. The only other way would be to buy another server, and I'm going to be honest, servers are expensive. for the amount of stuff that we want to do and everything, and this is only for one map for the price that they charge. It's great. It's, you know, it adds up if you want to do clusters and stuff like that. Let's put it that way. But obviously for everyone that has been here the entire time, how are we feeling? Any more questions? Anything like that? Obviously, Gio, I'm sorry I'm singling you out. I know you got here a little bit later. So you'll just have to go back and kind of watch all the details and everything. But just to give you a rough idea, I would probably say we've added a total of 60 plus variants to the map, to give you an idea of dinos and stuff like that. I would say 60 creatures in total, whether they're through different variants and stuff like that. But yeah. But yeah, that's a good point. So, if obviously we get, like, obviously we have the Patreon set up. We're starting this out small, obviously. It's a 10-man server right now. Once it goes live, it'll be a 10-man server. It's first come, first serve, so obviously you have to do it through Patreon. Obviously, the higher end tier that you buy into, obviously the higher tier is going to get the priority, obviously. Along with the other perks that you get and stuff like that with it. But yeah, no, if it actually goes well, like, I'm open to making a PlayStation server with it. I mean, I won't be on it. I don't have a PlayStation, but I'm willing to run it side by side with a PlayStation server. But unfortunately, there's no way to cross-play between PlayStation and Xbox, so that wouldn't be able to happen. The only way that they allow me to cross is if you have Arc through Windows 10 and Windows 10 and Xbox. So even if you have Arc on Steam, it doesn't work. It has to be through Windows 10. So, which kind of stinks. It kind of limits the amount of people that can kind of go on it. But obviously, if it goes well, if it's successful, then obviously we'll bump up the server. We'll add more servers, and then who knows from there? We might even do more. We might go with a cluster at that point, which is obviously some of the. No, 10 overall. Not 10. Well, I don't know. I guess that would be more of a Zaf and Metal answer if they kind of know. Because I was actually kind of curious about that too. So it's 10 people, but I assume it's 10 at. Oh, it's 10 overall. Oh, yeah, because you know what? It actually saves who's. That's right, because in my files, it saves who's kind of been going on. So it'd be 10 overall regardless, and it would be those 10, I guess, would only be in it. So that's why I'm saying it's like first come, first serve, higher tier gets the priority, obviously, that kind of thing. But obviously, we'd have to test that out. But to be quite frank, if we get 10 people right away that would want to buy it, like, you know, support the Patreon and stuff like that, then, I mean, why wouldn't I bump the server up if it can handle it? That's the biggest, you know, that's the biggest fear here is the server's running great now, even with all these added creatures and stuff like that, but at the same time, like, we don't know what's going to happen once we do get 10 people on the server. It could, you know, like, ping right now is 19, 20, you know what I mean? 18 right now, which isn't bad. I don't really get any lag. Some of the creatures are a little wonky, but, you know, that's just because I'm getting random creatures in here. But, no, it's running great. I mean, we've had, you know, I don't think we've really had too many lagging issues. We haven't really been knocked out of the server unless I've, you know, caused it, whether I stop the server or anything like that. So, obviously, the problem's going to be once we start adding more and more people to the server, what's going to happen? Who knows? Which is why we're going to start out small. We're going to take it slow and kind of see what's going on. And then, obviously, once we open up this server, if there's that much interest in it, then I'm open to the possibility of either increasing the server or just making a second one. You know what I mean? It might just be better that way to keep it lag-free and lag-friendly. So we'll see. Technically, it should run all smooth till you start to up the amount of spawns on the map. That's actually what we've been doing the entire time. I have not been subbing. The only place I've subbed is down in, if you remember when we talked about Jerboa Island, where I actually subbed, the Dimetrodon and the Dimorphodon for aberrant pets. That's the only place. Everything else is being added to the default. And we have no issues yet, which is great. I will say that's probably been the most surprising thing. And yes, spawn rates are low right now, and I probably will tweak them a little bit higher. But honestly, technically, yes. Technically, there will be more dinos on the map. More dinos, period. Yes, they're not replaced. They're added to the default list. So, yes. So, traditionally, let's just say on the beach, traditionally, you get a Parasaur. I'm going to make it quick, just obviously for examples here. Parasaur, Dodo, and Trilobite. Let's just say, on the beach, that's the amount of stuff. That's it. Then what'll happen is, because of the way that I have it set up, I have not only the Parasaur, but I also have the X-Parasaur, and I have the Aberrant Parasaur along with the Parasaur spawning as 3 separate spawns. Then I also have, if the Trilobite is on there, then also the Aberrant Trilobite is part of that group. Then on top of that, the Dodo has the Aberrant Dodo, and on top of that, we've also added Crystal Isles creatures, which include the Tropical Crystal Wyvern to that group. The Tropio is also in that group, so it's actually growing the amount of default period, you know what I mean? But for right now, I've actually lowered the levels of everything because it was really just a test to make sure that the creatures are spawning and they're spawning correctly. What I'll start to work on is upping the ante a bit and seeing how that plays with the spawns. But to be honest, like the admins will tell you, we had it cranked up to like everything was common, which is like 50% spawn weight, which means like every creature was spawning like 10 or 12, and I don't think we really, I mean, they were more on it than me, but they could probably tell you that I don't think we really ran into lagging issues, even with probably, I don't know, I would say we probably had 2 or 3 times the amount of traditional dinosaurs spawning. Like, it was probably 3 times at least, and we weren't getting any issues. So Deinonychus, unfortunately, it can't. And that's the same thing with the rock drake, same thing with the creatures spawn. But the problem is the nests are considered structures. They're not considered part of the dino. and there's no way I can change structures in INI files. That's a mod. Yeah, I know. I really wanted to do Deinonychus. I wanted to do Rock Drake. I had Rock Drakes in the Redwoods. Rare spawn, but in the Redwoods, which was kind of cool. And at one point, I think it was Zafara that said that we had like 8 or 9, I think, in the Redwoods. Like, she spotted 8 or 9 of them. None of them had eggs, obviously, or fertilized eggs, because, you know, it doesn't work. But we did have them spawning. It's just they're not spawning, you know, they're not properly doing it. Yeah, so anything that like you need an egg to get it, you can't do. Which is another reason why Magmasaurs wouldn't work anyways, because you'd grab an egg. So Magmasaurs wouldn't work regardless. And there's no way that I can get them to well, not only spawn the egg, but like we were talking about before earlier, you can't really get them to breed anyways, and I can't change the settings to make them a knockout tame or anything like that. So, yeah, which kind of really stinks. But if we are talking about the... Sorry, I got to switch the mic a bit because you guys just got to in your face. So, talking about the Deinonychus, I mean, if everything does go well, I mean... Again, just thinking in my head, probably the next map that we would do in a cluster would make the most sense to Val. So you would get your Deinonychus, you know what I mean? So, like, I don't know why system auto deletes your message. Oh, wait, I'm on Streamlabs, so that's why I was going to say, I don't know why. Oh, okay, so you guys could see it too. Okay, I don't know why it's auto deleting your messages or anything like that. I can see them. I'm also on Streamlabs, though, doing this, so... I don't know what's going on specifically. Yeah, I mean, I'm on Streamlabs, so everything that, even if anything gets deleted or anything like that, I still see it because I'm on a different. I'm doing this through a different app. So Val also has a viable Reaper spawn location. Yeah, so like that's kind of like what I was hinting at before. Like, again, I don't want to make false promises, but obviously if things go well, we would probably have to do another map at some point and do another cluster. So if it was Val, then yeah, we do have a if we do have a second map and do Val, we have an aberrant section. So then, like, that's kind of like what I was hinting at before. Like, a lot of those creatures that maybe don't work well on this map might have a home somewhere else, you know. But who knows? Maybe we realize that, I don't know, maybe we realize that Gen 2 makes the most sense. Because we don't know what that map's going to have. And to be honest, how cool would it be to have Reapers and the Reapers that are being shown off in Gen 2 in one area? That'd be scary. So who knows? Maybe Gen 2 would be the second map, you know? Like, so we don't really... I don't really know kind of what's going to go on in the future and everything. Obviously, a lot of it's up in the clouds and whatever right now. But we'll kind of see how this goes. But long story short, it's been basically like, yeah, we've been doing this for about 2 hours, but I think you guys get the gist of kind of what we're working on. Obviously, there's a lot more that's going into it and everything like that, so we're really excited. I'm really excited to get this going. Obviously, I'm not going to put it out there until it's ready to go, but we will do multiple streams to let you guys know of the progress and everything like that. But I think as a start, this was good to kind of show you guys what's been going on behind the scenes, if you will. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you guys are excited about the new server and everything, hopefully coming eventually, right? But we'll kind of see how everything plays out. We have Gen 2 obviously coming out, so I got to focus on that. So I don't know when the server's coming, but this will definitely be this is definitely going to be in the works behind the scene. I will definitely guarantee that. And I'm really, really excited to get this going. So I'm really motivated to get this stuff worked and figured out, and hopefully in the next few weeks, that would be awesome if we could do a second stream to kind of go over all the progress. I mean, in 5 days we got this, so you know, who knows in the next 2-3 weeks kind of how far we can get. So I'm really excited. I hope you guys are too. And yeah, that's going to be it. So guys, if you're watching this at this point, do me a favor. Do two things right now. First of all, if you haven't yet, hit that like button. It really, really helps out the stream. And it just helps out the channel. It helps out the algorithm. You know, you guys know the whole thing. And then obviously, too, if you're not subscribed to the channel, you've already been watching for almost 2 hours. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button at this point. What are you doing? You silly billies. And yeah, no, that's going to be it pretty much. And then, yeah, we'll do teasers and stuff like that, too. Obviously, we're going to do more streams eventually, kind of going over all this stuff. And, yeah, that's going to be it, guys. I think I covered everything. I hope I covered everything. Well, I'll see you guys on the next one, whenever that's going to be. Join the Discord, press the like button, you know, all that fun stuff. And I'll see you guys when I see you. Have a good one, everyone.